Hello everyone, it's me again, Miss Jennifer, your biology, chemistry, and your science teacher. I would like to welcome you all to our second online class. So before we proceed with our discussion today, let's have a short review first in our last topic.
What actually is radioactivity? Many of us have heard this word before, but what does it actually mean? The word is made up of two Latin words, namely radius, which means ray, and activus, which means activity. So it's radiation activity. Thus, radioactivity is the characteristic behavior of unstable cores of atoms spontaneously decaying into different nuclei and emitting radiation in the process. There are different types of atoms with unstable cores, and these are collectively referred to as radionuclides. This gentleman here is Antoine-Henri Becquerel, and he was the first to observe this phenomenon in 1896. 2 years later, it was Marie and Pierre Curie who first used the word radioactivity for this radiation that is caused by the decay of nuclei. But why do these nuclei decay at all? The cores of atoms consist of protons, these are positively charged particles, and neutrons, which are neutral particles. With stable nuclei, there is a certain stable proportion of protons and neutrons. But if there are too many or too few neutrons compared with the number of protons, this equilibrium in the core of the atom gets out of balance, and the core becomes unstable and decays. By the way, there are more than 3,000 different radionuclides known to this day. These can be described by different properties or be divided into different groups of types. One example of this is their classification by the kind of radiation they emit upon decay. In this case, one speaks, for example, of alpha, beta, and gamma emitters. But there is also another property that can be used for dividing up radionuclides, and that is their so-called half-life. This is the period of time after which statistically, half of the nuclei of a certain initial amount has decayed. The experts distinguish between short-lived and long-lived radionuclides. Finally, the radionuclides can also be grouped according to their origin. You can have artificial radionuclides that arise during certain technical processes. Among these are, for example, cesium-137, which is formed upon nuclear fission in nuclear power plants, or technetium-99m, which is generated for medical applications by radiation. In contrast, natural radionuclides occur in the environment without any human intervention. Part of the natural radionuclides are generated all the time by cosmic radiation impinging on the upper strata of the Earth's atmosphere. An example of this is carbon-14, which is used for determining the age of fossils. The other natural radionuclides are already formed when the universe came into being. Hence, they were already around when our planet Earth originated. Here on Earth, there will be no new nuclides of this type. In space, however, new ones will continue to emerge, through supernovas, for example. The fact that these radionuclides can still be found on Earth today is due to their extreme longevity. Among them is also uranium-235, which is used as fuel in nuclear power plants, and potassium-40, which can be found inside the human body. If you want to know more about the classification of radionuclides, why not watch our videos on the topics of the different kinds of radiation and on half-life?
So for today, we are going to discuss about the uses of the radioactive substances. Objectives. State what radioactive substances are. Appreciate the importance of these radioactive substances. And number 3, uses of radioactive substances. So what are the uses of these radioactive substances? Again, what makes it active? You still remember our discussion? Because of the isotope, so the number of protons and neutrons are not equal. That's why some of the substances are very active, because they are not stable. So the radioactive substances can be used in many human activities. Their use can be classified into 5 main categories. These are the following: industry, agriculture, medicine, food technology, and the last one is archaeology. So these are the 5 classifications or 5 uses of the radioactive substances. The following are the uses of the radioactive substances in industry. First is to detect wear and tear of moving parts of machines. It is used in the moving parts of the machines, such as pistons in car engines. Next, lubricating oil. Next is to control the thickness of paper or the aluminum foil, and so on. Another, to detect the leakage of liquids, such as water and oil, from the underground pipes. In agriculture, these are the uses of the radioactive substances. As tracers, so this one, it is used as fertilizers, like the phosphorus 32. It is a radioisotope that emits beta particles. By detecting phosphorus outside the plant, agriculture can determine how much phosphorus is needed by plants. For genetic modification, gamma radiation can cause modifications to the genes of cells. This is known as mutation. Again, any changes of your genetic materials can cause mutation. By causing mutation to plant seed, it may be possible to produce better quality seeds which will yield plants are more resistant to pests. Next, uses of the radioactive substances in medicine. As traces in medical diagnosis, radioactive substances like tellurium 99 or sodium 24 will indicate the locations of blood clots in the body of the patients. For curing diseases such as cancer, radiations or the beta radiation can also be used to kill cancerous cells in a patient's body. This is known as radiotherapy. For curing diseases such as cancer, iodine 131 is a radioactive isotope used in curing the defects of the thyroid gland of patients. As sterilizers, gamma rays are also used in sterilizing surgical equipment in hospitals. This method is suitable than boiling water, especially if the equipment are not water or heat resistant, such as surgical gloves. Next, the uses of radioactive substances in the food technology. Okay, we have this what we call a food preservation, to preserve the food or to make the food to stay longer. One of the techniques of food preservation is to irradiate the food with gamma radiation. The radiations will kill bacteria and insects, and it will reduce the chances of mold forming on food. So it will preserve, or it will make the food stay longer and fresh. Okay, so that's all for today. We discussed about the uses of radioactive substances in the different fields of our it's quiz time. Class, I attach in your Google Classroom the questions, so kindly answer it all and then submit it after because that will serve as your attendance. So that's all for today. Thank you so much and have a nice day, everybody.